it feels like yesterday where myself, Ashin Nomad, and Nabil sat here talking about the entertainment industry, the Cameroon entertainment industry, the challenges we're facing and everything. And then today, well, yeah, like time really flies so very fast, yes? Okay, well, so you know how the show runs, yes? It's going to be an hour, 20 minutes. And honey, today I have very important personality. One came back because many were very much impressed with what he said, that like he has to come back again. He has a lot of things to tell us. And then on the other hand, he's a veteran. Honey, it took me a lot to bring him here. He's coming all the way from the southwest region of Cameroon. I'm talking about Grand Emingomba. It's an honor for me to have him on my platform. Like, bro, I'm blushing, okay? And of course, I want to give a shout out to my designer, Marita West. Thank you so very much for the outfit. I love it. Okay, honey, so do not go anywhere. All this and lots will be coming to your silver screen. This right here is Hall of Fame with Lyonga. And I had the best special. Don't go anywhere. I'm sure that that beautiful piece from Andre Marie Tala was able to put a whole lot of you, like it just took you to the dance floor, right? Like, I know I took a whole lot of you down the memory lane. It's a beautiful song to think, like it's over a decade old, but it still sounds so very fresh. It's amazing, the instrumentals, everything, honey. And that is why today we're going to be talking about the Cameroonian sound. Is it fit for exportation? We are really facing difficulties. I mean, South Africa, they're coming up, or they came up with the amapiano in as much as Nigerians have literally owned it, you know, they have fused it and it's beautiful Afrobeat. But then our Cameroon artists still find it difficult to sell to the international market. Few days ago, Ashake, I mean, he filled the O2 Arena in London, and it has become a very big topic for debate, which Cameroon artists can fill such an arena and everything. Now, we first of all have a problem. We have way too many genres. Now, which of them is good for exportation? Or should we just copy what Nigerians are doing? For example, should we copy amapiano and then fuse maybe Makosa into it, like what Phil Bill is doing with Afrobeat? Or should we just create our own and then export it? So that is why I've brought two fine minds. I'm going to start with the elder. I'm going to start with the veteran. He is Grand Emingomba, a.k.a. the Oga himself. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Queen Goddess. That's what I have in my phone.
Yeah, that's me. How are you, sir?
No, I'm okay, I'm fine.
You look amazing. Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and on the other hand, of course, I don't need to introduce him. Baba, should I introduce you? I don't know. He looks too good, bro. What's happening? You look amazing, by the way. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, honey, if you do not know him, we want to talk about the king of microphone, the king of the Cameroon summer industry. That one man who groomed each and every one of us, myself inclusive. This is him standing next to me. Now, one good thing about him is he doesn't age. Growing up, I was watching him. I'm meeting him. It's like I'm getting more contact than him. Baba, what's going on?
I'm good.
What's the secret?
I started young.
Right. Okay. So give us your take on that beautiful song. How do you feel? Did I take you somewhere?
Yeah, when you listen to songs like that, you just feel good about your country. You just feel good about music in whole. Because normally music is communication.
Yeah.
So when you listen to those people in those days, they were communicating actually. They didn't have this whole, there were no Android, there were no have views, there were no likes, they were not telling people challenge, I'll give you 50,000 and so on and so forth. They were doing their thing.
Yeah.
You understand? They have an inspiration, they have a talent. So they go to the studio, get musicians who are also talented. They put their heads together. They come up with something like this.
Okay.
That's what we don't have now. Because we have too many unprofessionals in the profession. So how do you expect it to work? It's not going to work.
Okay.
Yeah. So in those days, you don't get into the studio. I remember before I could get into Dobel, I had to pass through a series of people. I had to pass through Jano Ekwala late. I had to pass through Jado Ibele, actually. Yeah. He had to interview me and make sure I'm approved. Are you a pianist? Yes. Can you play me any song you know? Are you this? Are you that? Before he could take me to go and see Dobel.
Whoa.
And when I would get into Dobel, I met Jolie Priso there. It was another step for me to sit down and even sit down in the place.
Why was
They
it
had
so
to make
difficult?
No, because music is a profession and was meant for musicians.
Okay.
Not wannabes, not people who have their passion for music. That's what's happening now. People just get into their laptop, there's Fruity Loops there. I bet you there are many producers today, if you ask them what key and what note are you working on, they don't know. They don't know. What progression are you working on? They don't know. But they're producing songs that you dance today, that you see and you like. So, but it's not going to last long because there is no background, there is no rudiments, there is no theory, there is no musicality, there is no talent. All is a copy and pasting imitation. Okay, this sound like this one, this sound like that the sound I heard. So they put it together and make something and a voice just beat on it and go, you can't sell that.
I know.
It's going to sound nice.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine. It's just like a new guitar in the shop. If you see a guitar in the shop, it's clean, it's fine, it's clean. But if you take that guitar, you want to play it, you can't play that guitar. Do you know why? Because it's not tuned.
Okay.
Yes, you have to tune the guitar. When you tune it, then you can play. So most of this talent you have here is fine, but they are not tuned.
Oh. Okay.
So you can't play what is not tuned.
What is not tuned?
So you want to sell a guitar that is not tuned. You want to sell sound that is not tuned. That's what we should focus on now.
Very well.
Okay.
Nabil.
First of all, before I even proceed, to answer your question from me, right? I think it's very important that I let people understand, because you're just introducing, but people don't understand. When I started the entertainment industry so many years ago, my first move towards actually making music was in Buea. And when I went to Buea, there was a hub that was being created, a very strong platform that was being created as far as music is concerned.
Okay.
It didn't go through most of the formalities he said, but he had a very unique formality for people who made their ways into the studio. And I remember the way my entry was. It was different. I came from Douala, I was on radio, I was known. But I must say, Emile Gomba is the godfather of Cameroonian urban music. And let us start by understanding that.
Yeah.
And any Cameroonian artist who doesn't understand, I think we are kind of like, we have two societies, two cultures, Anglophone culture and Francophone culture, without dividing it. But any young Cameroonian Anglophone artist who does not know the history of Emile Gomba and what he has done for this industry and what he has created and what he continues to do till today, you're lost. And I think that after this, people should go on Google. He should be the most searched man in Cameroon. You understand what I'm saying?
I know.
And I think that's where our problem starts, is this knowledge, like I always said. If you don't know where you're from, you never know where you're going. A culture that doesn't understand its history is a lost culture. And this is history, was history, and is history in the making. So I want to first of all, like, it's not, I cannot say too many things while I'm sitting there in front of him, because is the doctor. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, everybody knows that Lane. Like, he's an artist, he's a musician, he's a producer. He understands music and understands the business, understands artistic direction. He's one of the few A&Rs that here, even though he doesn't put himself as that, but he has shaped the careers of a lot of people. And I really had to take time to give flowers. That's some green flower beds. You know, so I like green. Keep on for you. Yes. Wow, and for you there, right there. You guys always recognize that. I think it's very important for us to recognize that.
Now give us your take on Andre.
Oh, like you said, like I was just saying, like that's great music, you know. We sat down here and everybody had the cha-cha. And when I say he's a legend because like he said something here that's been ringing in my head. Yeah. No, they follow me. Yeah, they follow music. Music, no, they follow ear. If music follow ear, it means a noise. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Everybody should go and write it down and read it every morning. It's the gospel according to Grand Emile Gomba 101, and everybody needs that. Because that was great music. Yeah. It was beautiful music. It's nostalgic music. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't think it was one of the most biggest exports from Cameroon, and that is the point I want us to bring on to start our conversation. Their music is culture. It's not everything that is your culture that can be exported to a different person. And I want us to understand that. Sometimes there's music that is used to preserve a culture, and only people in that culture can understand it. But then when you look at what is urban or what is exportable, there is always some change in that to be able to adapt it to other people for them to embrace it. And I think that that's very important. It is also possible sometimes that some cultures are accepted worldwide. You know, like black hip-hop American culture. It's a worldwide culture that's been accepted. So people adapt to that culture, if you understand what I'm saying. So that's why it's been one of the easiest musics to export. Because it's not just about music, it's about the culture that surrounds the music, and music always has a cultural background. So if you look at when we come back to this is great music. It was not totally exported, but it is what we love, it's what we consume, and in the world of today with the internet, this is music that should be exported to our diaspora, or people who can relate to it. But it doesn't mean that it might be music that we could sell to Nigeria, sell to Africa, sell to Europe, or sell to America.
Or use to fill the O2 arena.
Or use to fill the O2 arena. So I wanted us to start by understanding, like, everybody has a different objective as far as music is concerned and a role to play. Some people make music for a local audience, other people make music for an international audience. So if we are not knocking the hustle of anybody who's making music for a local audience, but our topic is how we can export music. So I like us to always understand what we're talking about before I talk about it, because there are very super intelligent people on the internet who are too smart for their own good, who don't understand these things. So let us talk to that of our sense people then. You understand what I'm saying?
So it brings me to my very first question. Before talking about how to export, which of the sounds to export, I want us to just go down a little bit. Let's talk about the origin. How did it emerge? Real quick. Let's start from Makossa. A lot of people out there, they don't even know how Makossa where it originated from. So let's start with Makossa.
Well, I grew up here in Makossa. I know that Makossa was from the Douala people.
Okay.
You know, Douala, they have this kind of culture. They call it a sewe. Now, a sewe, they have a kind of beat. I call it the pentatonic scale. Now, Makossa, in its real sense, has, from its original sense, has a lot of pop feeling inside. It means there is Makossa, the real Makossa that we are talking about, has pop inside. If you listen to all those from Black Steel, if you listen to Mikange, Sanfran Thomas, there is a pop feel. That's why they could go out of the country. Why? Because it has that pop inside. Now, the person who brought Makossa, the genre that we are dancing today, is Petit Pays, when he went to Congo. As he did with the Madilo and so on, he brought it for himself. Okay, fine, I'll put that Seben feel inside, I'll put the calling of names and so on. He started it. And you know Cameroon, when something works, everybody bounces into it. Yeah, so the Makossa starts from the pentatonic scale SOA. I saw one of your posts that you did this kind of research. That's history. I'm talking about the experience of it. I will not go into history. I will not go and be reading books of Makossa, but I know I grew up and I saw a lot of makossa. I knew that that was Cameroon song, that was Cameroon music. Why? Because that was the genre that we could export. Because when you're talking in those days, Cameroon, you say makossa.
Yeah.
And you see, even the Nigerians will even confuse awilo for makossa.
That's true.
And there are certain beats in, like I call it the 12 and 16 beats in Nigeria today, they still call it makossa. Like when I went there, they say, can you go and do me a makossa? I said, what do you call makossa? Yeah, you understand what I mean? So they call it makossa. So I believe, before we get into that, that is one genre that we should pay attention in. Okay. It's been adulterated, diluted now and so on. It makes no sense now because everybody is going after the money, not the music.
Not the music.
Yeah, so if you go after the music, you have the money. And that's why you see the Chinese one, I will respect them because they go and look for something that will make you give them money. They don't go and look for your money. They come to this house and look at it and so on. Say, no, this AC is not too cool. What I can do, I can produce a lesser power AC with more coolness inside. You find me and you buy it. You understand? So that's what we should be doing rather than listening to, I want to feel O2 Arena. With what?
That's a good question.
So you have to go back to the drawing board like you start. Let's begin to makossa. Okay, fine. What makes this makossa dying now? First, I would say it's been diluted. Now, in those days of Ebolotti, he was not singing makossa, but he was singing the other music. Yeah. I could not term that makossa. I would say folkloric makossa. Why? Because in those days, he has his own tuning. They call it the G open string tuning for Ebolotti. If he finish his guitar and give it to you, you will not play. No normal musician can play Lotti's guitar because he has a G open string tuning. So you could get the originality of what he's playing. That's why you cannot see two musicians play like Ebolotti. And that's what we're talking about because of the originality that he has, that he had in those days. And all his songs till date, when they put it, you have that nostalgia, just like Tala and Jeremiah. If you put Ebolotti with no perfect mix, with no perfect arrangement and so on, it still speaks to you. Yeah, so that's what I can say all about makossa because me, I'm a man from Cha-Cha music, Sawa.
Yeah,
this and so on.
I'll come to that. Very well. Let's go to you. Which of these genres do you know? Bensikin, which one would you want to talk about? Or makossa still?
See, this is what I can say, right? Because I'm really not an expert in that. I can tell you when I say given guy and me talk, I cannot say much after that because that's it basically, you know. But this is what I can say from my own experience, from the generation which I come from. Like I told you, I didn't grow up in Cameroon, but living out of Cameroon as a Cameroonian, I knew that makossa was the most popular genre of music that came from my country. But then as a Cameroonian, I remember my grandparents always used to record Telepodium and send to us. So we always had like what was happening in Cameroon, you know. So as a Cameroonian, we knew that Bikutsi and Bensikin were two other very strong genres in Cameroon. And we also realized that when we came to Cameroon, a lot of people listened to almost even more Bikutsi than makossa. I don't know, that was my own experience. I really didn't live here in the 80s or early 90s, but that's what I believed, right? And I got to understand that the reason why, even though out of Cameroon, makossa looked bigger than it was in Cameroon was because, and this is something I didn't know before, it has a touch of pop in it. And so it was possible for it to be exported without us even noticing. So now if I talk about genres, I think like Bikutsi has a very strong genre. I personally was never a fan, you know, and Bensikin has a very beautiful genre also. These three genres have existed in Cameroon alongside makossa, but one was able to be exported, but the other one still remain a very strong genre in Cameroon. And I think that many other, Asiko was also something that was very interesting because I saw a lot of Asiko out of Cameroon because of the dynamics. Like, you know, they had that rapper, they carried all kind of things with their teeth, and all that. And that's something I've been looking for a very long time, you know. But just to conclude on stuff, I wanted people to pick up something that he said. I don't really understand what that G stuff is, but I know that it's some genuine musical stuff, and it just reminded me that Cameroon has had one of the greatest musicians in the world. I mean, in the world. From Manu Bango to saxophone, Richard Bona with his instruments, Ted Brule, the guy who's doing that, and Boalotin, and a bunch of others. And there are vinyls of rich elements, like rich element of music that I think that if we want to look at exporting Cameroonian music, we should start going back, picking up samples from those great works. And then talking with intermediaries like him and looking at people like Salatel today who have been able to create and define what the modern Cameroonian urban sound is and put it together and go ahead. I just think that that's the best. That would be how we can make our own Michael Jackson.
Okay. Now, Granny, let me ask you this. This is the last question. Let me just take you back. Now, between the 1970s and 1919, Cameroon song was very popular across Africa. Can we look at some of the factors that contributed to this?
Well, the factors first was the unity. It plays a lot. It means if you're united, it means what you love is what I love. Now, remember in the time, like you were saying, telepodium. When it's time for telepodium, every Cameroonian, from Manfred to everywhere, they are glued to their TV to watch one show. It's from that show that they know. You see the George Dixon, you see the Maniolo, you see the Solomona, and so on. Okay, these are our stars. That's first thing. That unity, that combination of creative ideas. For example, nobody will tell me that you come and say, no, it's not a good thing, I prefer Maniolo, and so on. All of them came with their genre. Maniolo with his head guitar and rest, you will love it. Solomona with his way of dancing, Tukule with his way of dancing and so on. You will love everybody without discriminating that, no, this one is better than this one is better than. So everybody has his own genre with the originality that they create. So we could easily export what we have. For example, you say, okay, fine, we want these people to go to South Africa. You look at it and so on. Who can we send to South Africa? Without any buyer, we'll say, okay, we'll send Black Steel because there are a couple of we'll send them to South Africa. Now, if you ask, who are we going to export? They will give you thousands of names. Some will start by saying, no, I have 100 views, I have these views, and so on and so forth. Yes, it doesn't count. Because I'm sorry, most of these views, you see them all on YouTube. They are Facebook, you stop Facebook, WhatsApp today, you will not have musicians. like 90% are not musicians. Because they do music for the internet. It's not music for. Because music is like I said, it's like communication. You speak, I understand. If I cannot understand what you're speaking, change your language. If you say good morning, I say I cannot hear you, you either increase your volume for me to hear, or you change the language. That's how music is communication. If I cannot communicate with you, you cannot understand each other. I'm not doing music. That's the problem. That's why you see people will force people to listen. Because they are not communicating, I don't understand you. So the only way I can force you, I put money here, please come. Come and listen to my song. I for one, I don't buy that idea of challenge. That is a demon in modern music. It kills it. What I mean, don't misquote me, I'm not saying. The challenge shouldn't come from the artist. If I do music, let the fans decide what they want to do with the song. If you see like the Talent Marie, if there was a way I could stand up and I would dance it, I can even vibe to it. He didn't ask me to do that. Why? Because my emotions, my words, my feelings vibe into it.
It's natural.
Yes, but nowadays you cannot vibe that except some other person tells you that they are man that no, at least even do some small show for you know, do this and so on and so forth. So it makes the music that becomes too mechanical that even in the next off license people enjoy it. You don't hear that song. But the challenge is like they are proud. No, you see, I get like 3,000 shares and things and so on. But in the next, you could not hear. You cannot hear it. And that's why even in cabarets today, if you go to cabarets, they still play those songs. You still hear the bendekas in those days. You still hear the dinner bells. You still hear the why? Because why? That was the communication. I sing with my experience. I sing with my ideology. I sing with my story. And you take it and you understand it. So when you have that kind of a situation, you remember those songs. As I was coming, I was playing this Dinabel song. It took me very far in the days of primary school when we were leaving school and so on. That's nostalgia and so on. The memory lane and things like that. So we could easily perform, export those songs. Why? Because first, they have that commutative spirit.
Okay. There
were no beefing. This one is beefing. I didn't hear of any. I didn't hear of that. Till Papillon and the Pay and Come. I didn't hear of that to this young generation. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay,
yeah.
Very well. Now, Nabil, let's come to present day. Now, when you look at amapiano, you look at Afrobeats, let's talk Cameroon. Which of these genres that you all have mentioned do you think is competitive? That can compete with amapiano, can compete with the international market?
You asked me if I know which
one. Which of our, like now, currently.
Which Cameroonian trend?
As of now.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think we can use to compete with...
Before I answer that question, because you know how this thing is very technical, I've been media trained before I came here. I had a long conversation with my manager, and we had a very serious conversation, so I don't fall when I cast again. But I'll tell you this, right? I'm not the one to tell you which one could be used. Let me send the question to you. Since we have started making Cameroonian jazz, which one has actually worked, has been exported? Question 1, Makossa, when? 80s, early late 70s, 80s, and early 90s. And since then, have we been able to do that? No. So now let us continue now again. Now from that, that's the answer of your question. Not be me a talker.
No, of course I know because we have Mbole.
The question is what can be exported. Oh, you want to talk about Mbole? Let us get something straight, right? I started this conversation today by explaining that music is cultural, and most of the times music is associated to a certain culture. This song that you have now, right?
Lande.
I'm Fadil, right?
Yeah.
I saw the traditional version of that song. It is a traditional Bamu song, and when I heard it, I'm like, there's that song. It's like, but I'm beating the drums, and that's, you know that Northwestern. But then I said that was the original part of it. You see, that song is probably a smash in the Bamu culture. Every time you go home, you're nostalgic. You feel you're home because you have listened to that music. You know what I'm saying? Now, as a Bamu person who's living in Douala, who's in Yaoundé, or who is anywhere else, when you hear the version that has been urbanized, it makes you feel proud and nostalgic about where you are from. So it will work in this urban setting. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, if they take that to a bigger, let's say the whole of Cameroon now is vibing with that, right? Either the original part or the urban part of it, right? And then they take it now and then they fuse it with something that is really big in the world now, say like amapiano. And then other people, that original vibe that has got a lot of people love it, and people will vibe to it because the amapiano is trending. It's a direction to go. But when I said Bole is not music that can be relatable to more people outside of Mbole. And the proof of it is like, you know, it's very dumb that people just saying what they want to say. The proof of it is like, how big is Mbole in the southwest or northwest? Question.
True. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How big is it in the southwest or in the northwest? It's still Cameroon. Bole is street music that was created in Yaoundé that comes from speech. It's like speaking. It's almost like urban rap. It's almost like rap. You understand what I'm saying? It's poetic or whatever. Like you answer back and forth, which is a very natural African way of communicating as far as music is concerned. I say something, you respond. It's always worked in Africa, right? So that's what Mbole is. And but they're telling a story. It's like it's a storytelling situation. But it is too local to fit for a local audience, for an international audience to understand. So even though Benzikin and Bikusi was big in the same time Makossa was big in Cameroon, Makossa was the one that was able to be exported. And that's what I wanted to understand about Mbole. Mbole is cool for here. But until we can be able to develop it, grow it, and be able to make it appealing for an international audience and marketable, we're never going to sell Mbole. And that's how it is. If Makossa didn't have what he had, he would not have sold. And there are a lot of Makossa songs that were locally good but not internationally big. And I also think like when Manu Dibango actually did Soul Makossa, he knew what he was doing.
He was very intentional.
Blending Makossa with soul music. You know what I'm saying? And I even want to say in front of him, I think he can bear me witness. Like in 2006 when we came to Boya to do King in the Jungle, in 2006 it was with Chillin', but it was one family with M1 and Chillin'. So I basically felt one fan, but one thing that I believe that we were trying to do for, like we're testing on, it was not really so much done, was the fusion of hip-hop and urban music. And how could we have done hip-hop without being American? Because we sounded very American back in the day. How could we do hip-hop without sounding American, tell stories that are relatable to Africa, and have music that is not just African, but it's urban, and can go for Afrobeat, and it can go for hip-hop. And if you listen to King in the Jungle, I think that was like basically what it was. The things that I said was in English, it wasn't in Pidgin, but I nobody rap. It was in Cameroon communicating English, that kind of English that they teach me for school. You get what I'm saying? So I think at the end of the day, what can be exported in Cameroon today should be developed. It's not like it doesn't exist, but it has not been developed to a level that it can be exported. I'm not one who said it. If it could have been done, it would have been done. Point blank period. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I want us to take a look at this excerpt. It's coming from Alene Menget. This is what he had to say in regards to the exportation of Cameroonian song and how difficult it is to create a Davido in Cameroon. Take a look. Yeah, so it's like a Nigeria 80-20 campaign.
They could eat me raw right now, but don't compete with Nigeria. Nigeria does not have the capacity of Cameroonian music. Nigeria has close to 300 million people to feed them with songs. We have 30 million people. They have 300 million people. They have the market. They are like China. So you never try to build that comparison. Nigerians have the ugliest films from the start, but they have the market. Nigerians, you need to have a capacity to beat Lagos, and you've sold everything that you want to sell in Cameroon. So when you want to start doing competition, try to first of all find out the natural things that God has given them. They have a population that decides today that you are rich, you will be rich overnight. To build a Davido here is a miracle without Nigerian support. Not because Nigerians play better music, but because they have a market. How do you build a market? It's to get to an extra mile, to play like Manu Dibango, Richard Bonner, play something that no other person has ever played, and Nigerians will buy it. But if you want to copy Nigerian songs and high life to play like them, they will always prefer their brother, because that's exactly what they do. Let me take you to memory lane. Nigeria just got into music. They never had musicians. They believed in what they used to call makusa. Makusa was Zaiko Langa. And they believed that everything that was Zaiko came from Cameroon. They believed that Awilo Longoba was Cameroonian. They used to say, oh, this is Awilo from Cameroon. And they suffered all what we are suffering now. And at a certain point, the first guys came out. The two faces transformed what they had wanted all their lives, high life, into world music. They had the Sonny Okosos, that they were very popular, but they didn't play no music like us. While Nigerians were growing, we killed Makusa totally. Instead of improving on Makusa to become like high Makusa, or how do they call it? High life, new generation music. We went and started following the way we were not playing high life, whereas we have Makusa, who would have transformed Makusa into world music. That's what's happening now. Would have transformed Bikusi into world music. Would have transformed Mikosa into world music. I said it from the beginning, I keep saying it. These songs must be transformed to have their originality for us to stand international competition. Congo does not have a population, but they are penetrating the world because of identity. Forget Nigerian music and population. The Congolese music has more value because these are small people who have taken the whole world. Nigeria has a population. If you are a star in Nigeria, they can force you to be a world star. That population, they will send it everywhere. But let's go and start building our capacity. Our biggest competitors should be the remnants of Rechero, Tabule, Congo, who have the same kind of culture.
So let's start with you. What do you have to say to that?
I think what he's saying makes sense, makes a lot of sense. But I will tell you that we can, from our point of view, there are two things in this whole music thing. The commercial part. I want to sell. If you want to sell anything, you look for buyers. You look for people who like what you are selling. That's the commercial part of music. And Cameroonians, from what he's saying, from your questions, you're interested in the commercial part of music. Mm-hmm. Now, the originality is the culture, education of your culture. For example, I want to sell my culture. And that's where I differ with him a bit. Now, I want to sell commercial music. I will do exactly what he said. I will take the makossa. I'll urbanize it. I can mix hip-hop inside. I can mix rap inside. I can mix everything because I want to sell to you. And another, the only language you understand is rap. So if I want to sell to you, I will use a little bit of my culture and the hip-hop that you understand. Those kicks, those 808 bars, and those things, everybody will listen to it. Those soul kind of instrument, I will get to know. Just like a Shabona, he's singing in his dialect, in Douala. But having like 20,000 people in Japan, they don't know the language. But what they understand is the chord theory. He's playing jazz music. That's what they understand. That there is a particular vocal that is vibing to the chords, the augmented, the suspended chord, the fourth, and so on. That is the blend. They call it, they synchronize it, the melody. Yeah. That's what they understand. That's what they come from. Yeah. But now, I want to sell my culture. I think that's what you asked me. Which of my culture can I sell out there? We have a lot of, we have Bensikin, we have Botu dance, we have my cha-cha music. I'm a background, I have cha-cha music. I think I can sell that. The Bensikin, we say okay, I can sell Bensikin. The Bikuti, we say I can sell Bikuti. The Mbola, like you say, they say I want to sell Mbola. What are we going to sell as a culture? Everything can be exported. Everything can be sold, can sell. What we have to do is that we look for a combination of people who like their culture in and out of the world. If all Cameroonians in Japan, the bole that's not refined, they vibe to it. All Cameroonian in London, the bole that's not refined, they vibe to it. All Cameroonians in Australia, all Cameroonians in that. I know some of these Cameroonians, they have attachments. Like some of them get married to whites, they have their children, their kids, which are something and so on. Yeah. And everything. I'm telling you, the white man will want to study that music. That what is it in this song that every of those people around, their parties, their shows, you want to go for The Voice, Michael, he doesn't understand. But he said, no, this is what I bring to you. Yeah. You understand or you don't understand. But this is what I bring to you. It's just like when I saw one Nigerian there that was doing a whole lot of, a comedian who went for
Is it Josh Funny?
Yeah, the guy, it was not making sense. You understand? But the Nigerians could vibe to it. Yeah. Because they knew him back then, that this is what he's a fool. That's what he does, and so on. But ever since that time, they are beginning to take notice because the numbers have started rising. More than every other public show that they did at that time. Wow. Yeah, so I believe if we want to go commercial, he's right. We want to commercialize our culture. You know, what you sell, you must find what people like, thing what people like. If I want to send Janga, I'll look for a spice that can put in Nanjanga for it to be sweet, for you to buy. But if I want you to preserve, for you to like my culture, I have to impose it on you. I impose the culture, just like the Americans, they rap and so on. They impose it on us. We didn't grow up with rap. We didn't grow up with all those things and so on. They took this rap and they imposed it to the world. This is our genre. We are a continent. You go to anywhere and so on. Some they even sponsor their program. I want to give you money to help your children in school, to help this and doing and so on. But I'm bringing these stars to come and talk to those kids. Okay. And so when you begin to listen to this, they brought their money and we listen to their stars. I myself, when they were doing that rap, I was not very much interested. Till they start doing Mboa rap. And so I say, now you people are talking. Okay. Then I have to take the big G's, the West Dawn, and say, okay, fine, now you're doing the music that I can recognize. Okay. If you're doing rap, it's good. Because they were doing exactly like American. You close your ears, you know that...
They try to sound like that.
It's American. Okay. You understand? Yeah. It's only America who will tell them that, no, that is not pure American. But for us... Okay. So I didn't buy it. Okay. Yeah, but it was imposed. For us to sell our culture, you have to impose it. It means that every Cameroonian, that, okay, fine, this is what we want to sell. In their parties, they invite people, they are dancing to the Dayango. Okay. In America, they are dancing to the Dayango. You bring the Asake, even if it's nice, if it's okay. I'll tell you one funny story. Late Ashale, that was my son. May his soul rest in peace. Went to Nigeria. One Cameroonian artist in Nigeria called for him that fine. I hear you in Cameroon, you're the best backup I know. And trust me, he has a voice, he could testify. I've never seen a second. Yes. But listen to the twist of it. He went to the studio in Nigeria. And the engineer doing the thing, I said, okay, come and do your backup. The man did the backup. Sent it to me. I listened to the backup. I said, hey, don't kill that people. Don't kill that people. The engineer came and looked at him, called the artist that this is not what he wants. The man doesn't know what is backup in there, so on and so forth. Actually, being it is a strange line. He wants to learn. That really, please, I want to learn. Okay, if you have any other person that can do backup, let me learn, because that's what he does. That's the only thing I appreciate in him. If he comes to you, he will listen to you first and see if there is something he wants to learn from you. Yeah. If you have an originality, he will take you and say, teach me there, we will do their voice, so I beg. Okay. Yes, he doesn't come and just impose his listening. So he listened. He said, okay, finally then call. Behold, they called the backup to come and do the vocals. I'm telling you, even how can I say, even those people who are doing market seller, who understand that there is it is night and day. The person who left was day. The person who did their brought is night. But that is what
they can easily relate
to. Okay. That is what he communicates with them.
Yeah.
You understand now? So he left that place very discouraged that he's not a singer. That is not this thing. If these people can appreciate this kind of thing and so on and so forth, then why am I killing myself doing all this vocal with the music? I said no. Now the language that they understand.
I understand.
You understand what
Nabil,
I mean? Yeah,
we're running out of time. Nabil, tell us, give us your own take on that.
I think it's still the same thing that I said at the end of the day. Like, it's the same thing. Like I said, music is associated to a culture. So at the end of the day, you have to have music that's associated to a culture.
No, I need you to react to what Alene Menga said.
Oh, what Alene Menga said about
building the Davido.
I mean, there are facts now. You know, sometimes this is facts. Numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie. Numbers don't lie. Those are the facts based on what he said. If you ask me to build the Davido in Cameroon, it's very possible. It's very possible. Because I do not look at it as... Where I disagree with Alena is just the fact that he's looking at the population of Nigeria and the population of Cameroon like it's some sort of election. Like people in this country have to vote for this, but it's not about that. There's a global market right now, and Africa is a market. Everybody's looking at Afro beats, not Nigerian beats. Like Afro beats is one. If there's enough stars for people like Lyonga to shine or Taxi to shine, and there's enough stars for other people to shine, there's an available platform for them. What I think that we just have to do is to create the right artists, the right music, and we can be able to export it. Africa is a market. If we put our artists on the African market and on that platform, I guess it's going to be easy for us to make another. It's not. We can make a Davido. We can. Okay. Africa can make a Davido because Davido is not made by Nigeria; it's made by Africans. We contribute to him being Davido. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, if you look at what is happening around us, Nigerians have decided to pick, for example, amapiano and Afrobeat. All of them are focusing on it. Now, Cameroon, we have way too many. Do you think that if we were to focus on, let's say, Makossa, okay, you know what, all artists, let's do Makossa and export it, it's going to be a lot more better than everybody focusing on something different?
I think it's a wrong ideology that you have here. Like I say again, we're talking commercial. If we want to sell music today in the world of today, and as an African, why is it glad to be African? Because it's an African market now. Nigerians are not focusing on amapiano. Africans are focusing on amapiano.
Okay.
Nigerians, we know what Nigerian sound is, but for the past 10 years it has been changing. Why? Let's take someone like Davido for a case study, right? Davido has been able to jump on every trend from the time of Azone to, like, I follow him very closely, till the amapiano trend today. It's been over 6-7 trends that have been rocking Africa in the past 10-11 years. And he has jumped on every of those trends with the biggest artists or influential artists on those trends, and he has been able to take over Africa. And that's the way I've always looked at it. I don't see it any other way. I see it as an African market. Anybody who is big in the world today as an African artist is a big African artist in the African market, and that propagates him to the world. And I think that we have to conquer that, and that's how we have to think, basically. So it's not like there's amapiano Nigerian. No, it's the fact that when a trend is going on in Africa, everybody jumps on it. Asake, who filled up the O2, what's his last song? Amapiano. You get what I'm saying? It's not just him. Everybody is on that. And when something else comes and starts trending, everybody will get on it. Why should we feel like we should be left out of that international scene? Why don't we find a great Cameroonian artist now to jump on the trend? Because that's how things work. It's about playlisting. It's about a bunch of stuff. It's about acronyms. Like, what is trending in Africa? Everybody gets on it because that's what everybody's going to vibe to. And I think it's the same fact that we don't understand that in Cameroon to even make music trend in Cameroon, that we cannot understand it for international platform. Because in Cameroon itself, if we all sit down here, that unity he keeps talking about, think about it. One of the most glorious moments in the Cameroonian urban industry was between 2016, 2020. And one of the most important aspects of that was Alpha Beta. And how did that come about? Alpha Beta was able to take not just a label, Salatel took not just a bunch of people on his label to make them really big, but he created a sound that everybody was d'accord. From the French-speaking part to the English-speaking part, everybody was d'accord. He was able to take artists and put them on that lane and make them international and even conquer Francophone Africa. Everybody d'accord. He was not just did that with his own artists. The first big hit that we had from Daphne's first song was not Calais. Daphne had been, she had Rastafari, she had a bunch of things. She got to an international platform when he took her and did Calais. That's why I say people need to respect people that need to be respected. You understand? If you don't understand these things, you can't understand how things work. He has done that from everybody, from Neo to everybody, even up to Indira, who he made a hit for her, and she's not gotten any song that big since he's not made a hit from her since then. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I think that those are the important things that we need to understand. If we can be able to get together and have people that can come together and create a sound and all imitation, I said it before, when we keep talking about chook skin imitation, we're killing our industry because like we need to chook skin and we need to imitate because that is what creates a trend, basically. So I just think like, if you have to look at, if you have to grow or be able to export music or whatever, because like he says again, I am still speaking on a commercial part of exporting music, you know. I really understand the importance of preserving your culture and that through music, and also the possibility of selling your culture through music. But where I also disagree is the fact that, how many times do you listen to Mbole?
Mbole?
Yes.
Every time I listen to it, I like it.
No, how many times do you actually go and consume Mbole? What's your favorite Mbole song?
As much as I listen to it.
No, what's your favorite Mbole song?
I don't have any favorite Mbole song.
What's your favorite Mbole artist?
I don't know.
You see, that's what I'm saying. You cannot tell the world to vibe to a music that you say we don't even have a culture around. That we in Cameroon, who you are, one of the greatest musical minds, cannot associate one artist, cannot associate it with your lifestyle or your culture, and then we expect people in everybody should, let's just start. But it doesn't work like that. We cannot force people to consume music that is not right. So I think the first thing to do is, like you said, it was easy without too much explaining. Pure evidence, Makosa, pop in it, the world took it. We didn't, you know, I told you, in Kano, the north of Nigeria, 10 p.m. on NTA Kano, National Television, Nigerian Television Authority, Kano, they are playing Zangalewa, which is like an 8-minute video in the 80s.
Oh.
With Cameroonian flag and us marching 20th May, all that thing. 8th May, the way I saw, like it's like an 8-minute video. They played it on national television in the north of Nigeria. That didn't take anybody too much calculation or challenges, you understand what I'm saying, to do. It's because when this music is exportable, it is exportable. It will go. You understand what I'm saying? Till we figure, I don't have the answers to that. You know what I'm saying? I think he should have more.
I wanted to talk about producers.
Let me add to what he just said. Like the question with Mbole and so on. Maybe you're confused between a fan and a producer. So if you ask me like a fan, I will say I don't even know. I don't even know Tenor's latest song. Now, but what attracts me is the deepness, the idea behind every song. Like you said, Zangalewa. They could not understand AGB, Zangalewa, so on and so forth. But you could know that they're talking about war.
Exactly.
You could know that they're talking about child soldiers, victory, we stand by our country, patriotism, and
they had some pidgin that was relatable in it, some very quotable pidgin.
Good. That's what I'm saying. Now, what you just spoke, you spoke for and you spoke against at the same time. Now, the for is what? we have to vibe with the amapianos and the things and so on, which is okay.
That is, we have to vibe with. I say that's what is trendy
now. But if I want to understand her question, amapiano is from South Africa. That's what I'm doing. They didn't do amapiano for the war.
Of course,
and it started with the DJs, not even producers. DJs, they when they are doing the thing, they will put this thing on loop and they put their piano. So it was called electronic music, not even amapiano.
Okay.
Yes, it was electronic music. So when we were in the Afrima, we put it under electronic music. There's no genre like amapiano there. Yeah, so it was electronic music. So they will loop it. That's why you have only just the one major sound. So now they want to feel the crowd, depending on what they are exciting in. Put maybe the drums, put maybe the cynical tones and so on and so forth. That's how it is. They were doing it for them.
Okay.
But now, other people, maybe South Africa with their population, everywhere they are, maybe I come to the country and there's this amapiano. I say, hey, I want to go to my country, or I'm in London. I said, no, I want to bring these guys that I saw there to come to London and perform me this thing that I saw there and I liked. Now, in that day, London, maybe the Americans there, maybe there are even Nigerians there, maybe there are those people who say, hey, South Africa do this thing and so on. They'll go back, and you know Nigerians. Anything that is vibe, if 1, 2, 3 things vibe,
they go with it.
They go with it. So it becomes now a national thing, just like the Azonto.
Exactly.
It was not something to be exported. Yes. It was something, it's their song. They are doing it for them. It's just like this other song that people were doing the challenge and they were sleeping down. I don't know that song. When it comes to that part, everybody falls down on the floor. You understand? The music has nothing in common, but in the whole Big Brother Africa and so on, it was it. You understand? So, if we want to do business in music, like what Anele was, that's why I agree with him. We can't beat them. They have that population. I can sing only for Igbo. Igbo, there are how many million people? I mean, just in that language. That's why I used to have a TV called Yoruba TV. They make their money from everything just Yoruba TV. They have that population, they have everything. Commercially, they are up there.
Okay.
So what we should do is that our small population that we are, we should come together like what he was saying.
Unity.
You have this Salatel, you have Phil Beat, you have, I don't know, DJ Carl, you have all those people and so on and so fine. Listen, I'm producing this artist. You're producing this artist and so on. That tone that you produce, like what you say, alphabet record, if every one of the something, it's just like the Congo. Dombole and Dombole. Every musician, I could tell you JP Piana's line with Werason is the same. From Werason to but it is the same line they follow.
Okay.
And nobody's complaining. But now, here in Cameroon, it was this song with Stanley in the song. He took one part from one Makosa musician and so on.
Is it take over?
Forgotten the phrase. It was just a phrase.
Okay.
And the man went on rampage on the.
It was not pleased with that.
Who, the Makosa artist?
Yes, it was one phrase that he took from. I've forgotten the phrase.
Okay. We're running out of time. So
he went on a rampage and was saying that, petit frère, you don't copy things, you don't do this and so on and so forth and so forth. With this kind of mentality, maybe he sang something that I like. I put it in my song. He needs to vibe to that thing.
Yeah.
By the time the next person see it, will vibe to that thing. So if you have this trend that, okay, fine, this is what we are doing, and every list A artist put maybe even that phrase, we can even start with that phrase, it will be exported.
Okay, very well. Now, my next question is this. Our exploitation of our sound, Alena Mega mentioned population and everything. Let's talk about the 80-20 in this context. Now, over time, I've realized 80-20.
What is that?
By all Pancho. Now, do you feel like this is
Excuse me, please, I'd like us to
destroying...
understand the question. What is it? Can you explain it, please?
The 80-20 campaign, well, based on O Pancho's, his idea is we should consume more of Cameroon and less of foreign, and he's been targeting Nigeria. Now, over the past couple of days, I've seen that Nigerians are not finding it.
It's not O Pancho's campaign. It's 80-20 campaign. It's a campaign that everybody does on their own.
Well, he's the one who is spearheading it right now.
I don't think that's what he's spearheading. I think he's spearheading hate on the internet, but go ahead.
Now, the reason why I had mentioned the 80-20 was because during one of my live sessions, Nigerians joined in and they said one of the reasons why they did not, because they contributed to the growth of Lyonga, some people, right? And the reason why they really did not vibe with the jazz because of the 80-20, the hate on Nigerians. Now, they are beginning to take it personal. Now, my question is this. Are you worried that this campaign, which was geared towards Cameroonians loving and supporting their own, valorizing their own, might become a thing where it might actually separate two nations?
Well, I feel 80-20, every nation in this world, so far as I know, will prefer their own. Even the same Nigeria will prefer their own. Yeah, like how you were saying, you can do that without hate. Now, I must not love what you're doing, but I don't have to hate it. For example, if I see two songs, I say, okay, no, I like this one. But I'm not telling you, I like this one is good. No, that one is trash. That one is nonsense, and so on. I'll say, no, I vibe more to this one. All the songs, they are good songs, but I vibe to this one more than this one. The person who have this one will not feel bad that, okay, fine, you have. But when I said, no, what is that? It's trash, man. This is not song. This is not good song. This is not good music. This is it, and so on. I vibe more to this one. Now, like you said, the 80-20, what I support in the 80-20 is the awareness. That's all.
That's all. Okay.
The awareness. You know, some people are beginning to aware that, okay, fine. It means my whole wardrobe was, my whole list of music was Congo, South Africa, Nigeria, America, and so on. Because you know that some people, there are some local, like students in school, they don't feel attached to Cameroonian songs. Like you bring it there, I might move that in here. They don't feel attached to things that concern Cameroon. Now, I will tell you why. There are two things for me. It's not actually the musical part. Because we are saying all these things about the musicality, what we can sell and so on. We are forgetting the real issue. But I'm not going to go further because it doesn't concern me. Okay. The state of our nation. That is a big problem. Why? Because the government, who is supposed to support talents like Nabil, talent like this one and so on, they are achieving, they are extorting from the talent. It means, there was this female can in Limbe, when they decided to bring all these artists together. So they called me that you are representing Southwest in this form, in this form, in this thing, and so on. So you have to bring Mr. Leo, you have to bring Salachel, you have to bring Mel B, you have to bring Richard Kings, you have to bring Afuakom, all of them are under you now. Put them there. So when we went for the meeting and things like that and so on, so when we discussed the budget, you know what they said? Even Feko avec l'agence, cut it down to 200,000, and so on and so forth. Wow. It means that they begin to downgrade your art, your creativity to 200,000, 250,000 francs. And my boys, they refused. They said they're not playing. And I supported them that, okay, fine, don't go. Don't come there, and so on. So the government or the state of Cameroon don't sell their creative concept, except you're bringing it from outside. Look at the welcome about Kylian Mbappé.
No, I know.
Look at what they did. Look, yeah, because he is a monument from outside. And his mother was saying it. If he was in Cameroon, the talent will not be at this top-notch level. Why? Because they suppress talent. Now they are creating every rule, every laws to bring down. First, they say, no, you're not going to perform in a concert. You have to go register from somewhere to this, and it's 1 million francs. And so they're doing everything that the talent should be limited, that every bit of money goes to the government.
Okay, very well.
Yes, and it's not vice versa.
Okay, well, so we have come to the end of today's edition of Hall of Fame with Lyonga, the best special. Okay, we're talking about exportation, and of course, we're looking at different genres, and it's a good thing that we had Grand Emmy here to just take us down the memory lane a little bit, to revive us, to teach us, and of course, producers, you know, you can do a whole lot. An artist, instead of copying, you can learn to stay original. Let's make good use of the musical instruments we were blessed with. And of course, we have good pianists, there are guitarists. Let's visit our forefathers. You know, we have sounds. Let's just see how we can fuse them into something very, very beautiful. And I think we're definitely going to make it. Okay, well, do not forget to follow us on social media. Of course, there's Nabil here, there's Napstar TV, he has Napstar TV, there's Napstar Fungod, you know, and I'm talking about your Napstar freshman. I spoke with Fido and he told me beautiful things about it. Yes, I'm going to show you later on. And of course, do not forget, Emi Gomba, to all artists, if you want to produce a sound, this man right here is the owner of M1 Studio. It's at UB Junction. Honey, he does beautiful sounds. He has live instrument as well. He's going to give you a great sound, okay? Yeah, and do not forget to follow me as well, Lyonga Official on all social media platforms. See you next time. Bye.